Platform. Thanks again for joining us, and on behalf of the members of our crew, the One Radio crew in Oguta and the One Network crew in Owerri, we want to thank our sponsor, Dr. Felix Okosha, and my auntie May Wabiani, and all those who have contributed in one way or the other to make this program possible. Of course, not forgetting our able producer, Evangelist Henry, and all the members of the crew who have made this possible. It's another exciting time, and we are not going to do anything less than the exciting work we've been doing in the past. So, without much ado, let's bring in our guest. I want to remind everyone, our viewers and audience out there, that the program is interactive and you can always, like we say, be part of this program. Hello, Professor Anne. Our guest is standing by already, and that is Professor Afamdi Anene. Unfortunately, today we cannot bring him live into the studio because you can see this is our almost ready One Network Studios, and by next week you're going to have a lot more exciting interaction and experience. We can only get better. I thank those of you that have been patient with us all these years and all these days, promising you that it can only get better. So let's bring Professor Afam Anene to Oguta Round Table. Yeah, Prof, can you hear me better now?
Hello?
Yeah, Prof, can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So welcome, Prof, to Oguta Round Table. Please help us to introduce yourself to our Oguta audience, and of course greet them in our traditional Oguta way.
I'm born as Hassan. Hassan Wafre.
Yes, sir. Oh, now the Hassan, nobody sir Hassan. The one that night, the active womb.
No. Divani, Chama Yobuka, and he did an amana. Wago, she, Divani, you don't care, you don't care. Divani, no, Radio 1 or World Radio. Born and no problem. Movie, Obiaka, I'm on a pattern capital.
Born na Prof.
Afam Anene. Afam Anene. Abmonu. Odo, Abu Koji, Mahadu, Abia State University, Zombu Okamuta, na Faculty of Agriculture, Abia State University. Also, man, I had done. I changed for Umaka Yudi.
Mbona, Prof. Mbona. Oh, no, Nigeria, which are the hope of the common man. The other day, the program, Munshirin the Madu, when last Kunonoro, Oneyashi, Bagidem Bashi, I will feed you and your family. Who do? Ndi Bujana, the big man, the Rujuja for who do.
Yeah. Okay. I think none of the big man will job. Okay, I'm hearing that from your mouth.
When last Kunonoro, Madu, I will feed you and your family.
He said, I have a job. I'm going to do for a pota. If you do from the top, you take what they do, you take now. Hello?
I'm with you, sir. I'm with you. Yeah, go on, sir. I'm with you.
Yes, I'm done. She went last. Did I hear somebody say I'll feed you your family?
Yes, sir.
Okay, rhetorically, yes, it's difficult to hear somebody say that. But even the big people, they're now big men, no hope in it. I tell you that they might not even have enough on their table.
At this time,
they might not be scratching the surface.
Sincerely speaking, that was the point I was trying to make now, that Nibuja, a very essential commodity, and no longer Maja the secret, Buja, those people actually follow who no road though. So today now we dey follow now make we know road. I'm with you, sir. I'm with you.
Hello?
Yeah, go on, sir. I'm with you.
Yes, I'm done. When last did I hear somebody share a video your family?
Yes, sir.
Okay, rhetorically, yes, it's difficult to hear somebody say that. But even the big people, big men, know who did it. I tell you that they might not even have enough on their table.
At this time,
They might not be scratching the surface.
Sincerely speaking, that was the point I was trying to make now, that Nibuja, a very essential commodity. I don't know how much the secret, Buja, those people actually follow who no road though. So today now we dey follow now make we know road.
It depends on what you mean by no road.
Because of food now, I go Chijiumu Bataja no Bodo.
Okay, let me believe that for now. You know, for food to be on the table,
Yes, sir.
For food to be on the table, there are so many inputs. Social inputs, economic inputs, political inputs, and even the will to eat is a requirement for food to be on the table. And if one of the elements fails, especially the political and technical inputs, be sure that that food will not be there on the table. And that is what is happening to Nigerian agriculture today. 60% of what it takes to place food on the table is outside the reach of the technical people who should put the food on their table. It's completely out of their reach. Everything is now politics, politics, politics.
Now, back to our discussion and bringing it home. We underrender Naku flower these days. They don't even have the time to appreciate the beauty of flowers. But my question is there any way it will convert and double up planting food in little spaces and still achieving food decoration and of course decoration of the stomach, which is more important now?
And let me take the key word there, planting food in little spaces. Did I hear you say
Yes,
that?
sir. Yes, sir.
It is cosmetic. Planting food in little spaces is cosmetic.
Okay.
It is agriculture. Agriculture that can feed 200 million people is outside the scale of little spaces. It's outside the scale of little spaces. It's outside the scale of rural farmers.
Wow.
It's outside the scale of, you see, one good farmer or two, or let me not exaggerate it, 5 farmers can feed. 5 farmers can feed 5 farmers if they have enough of land and sources to do production. So it's not, for me, it's not a question of little spaces. Little spaces, yes, you produce 500 grams of, if you take cassava, for example, and 1 million produce, say, less than 200 grams of cassava. If you add that 200 grams times 1 million, you will not make anything tangible. But 2 or 3 farmers will be able to produce 1 million tons of cassava in 1 year. So food production is beyond, food production currently, the way it should be, is beyond little spaces, cosmetic. So people enter the what they call where governor stay, or where president stays. They enter there, before you know it, they plant 2 or 3 stands of cassava or 2 or 3 stands of tomato and say they call it smart agriculture. That's what somebody told us a few days ago, that she's practicing smart agriculture. That's funny. To me, that is funny. It's scratching the surface. It's cosmetic. At the end of the day, how many tons of tomatoes will that person produce? I don't want to call her name, because calling her name will be glorifying what she's doing. And how many kilograms of tomato will she produce? Nothing. It may not even be enough for her to take one full meal. And yet, and at the end of the day, that's even what we see. What we not see is how much was put in to produce that little tomato she's planting at her backyard, or whatever she's planting at her backyard.
So, in other words, the economy of scale plays a huge part in modern agriculture.
Exactly. Modern agriculture requires smart agriculture. And I asked, how much that if it's tomato she's producing, she might not produce enough tomato to last her more than 1 meal. If it is cassava she's producing, she will not produce more than enough cassava to last her. When we have not seen I don't want but at the end of the day, what has she produced? Nothing. In this cosmetic agriculture. And the way we are now, like you said, modern agriculture requires heavy inputs, intellect, money, time, and the will to produce in tons, in excess of what we consume. Assuming I consume 2 kilograms of cassava per week, and I call myself a farmer. Assuming I call myself a farmer, I produce 2 kg of cassava a week, and I consume all, then I'm not a successful farmer. I should be able to produce in excess of 2, which I consume, and market the other. That is what agriculture should be talking about. On the national scale, Nigeria should produce enough to feed itself and an excess to produce. It's only then we shall be talking about whether we're practicing modern agriculture. It's only at that point we will not limit our imports in terms of food. Because of course, virtually everything in Nigeria now is imported. We import fish, we import virtually everything. What is it that we don't produce? Rice is wheat. Those are all things we consume and import in excess. And these are things we can even produce enough for us and have some to share with, to export to other countries.
Wow. That's a big one. Now, yeah, I can hear you perfectly well, Prof, and it's really bringing some massive thoughts. Now, let's bring it home to our Ameshi Oguta. Our forefathers were predominantly fishermen and farmers because it was even more structured where we have dedicated farm communities and our communal settlements where our forefathers used to go stay in the farm. Even till today, a lot of our uncles and aunties go and stay in Ubi, we will call it, and they come back after staying in the farm to wait for their harvest during August and all those. Now, considering that we have a long history of farming, is there any way you think we can put hands together as a community in Oguta, Shinemife? They always like to come together and do something, Mayfair, Baraba. So is there any way we can put resources together as a community in Oguta to go into this kind of farming, considering the fact that, like you just said, without scaling up agriculture, you can barely, it will not be a worthwhile venture. And of course, our people are putting in so much physical energy instead of using technology. That means they cannot favorably compete with other people both in Nigeria and around the world.
So, at the time of our forefathers were able to produce enough they could eat. And I think also they could produce a little more than they could eat. and they had some to sell to other people. But as the years went by, the farming population drifted out of the farm. And in fact, the farming population is less than 1% of what it used to be. Like you said, our people were predominantly farmers. More than 60-70% of them were farmers. Now, how many of them are farmers? Less than 2%. But if we want to predict enough now, there must be a reversal in population rate out of the farm. In fact, technology has made it possible that we do not have as much as 60% of the population going back to farm. About 5% of that can go back, but they require the heavy inputs. They have to have the capital to operate. I'm sure fish, for example, there's plenty land, there's plenty water. So if anybody goes to the farmland to produce, he wants to produce fish particularly, what he needs at this point in time is heavy investment. Where is the investment going to come from? Is it taking a loan from the bank and they ask for 30% interest rate? And things like that. And two, our farmers, currently, many farmers are not insured. They are not insured. Insurance plays little or nothing in agricultural practices in Oguta. So we have to enhance the capacity of our farmers to insure their farm, so that in case of any calamity, they will still break even. Or even if they don't break even, they won't have to incur heavy losses, because in production, the production capacity requires a heavy input. And in case there's a calamity, it will break down. It may even cause some mortality on the part of the farmer itself. So if we have to drive it back to Oguta, we need to get our population, at least 3 or 4 or 5% of our population. What I mean population is the youthful population, back to farming. And for them to go back to farming, they have to be motivation, okay, but they have to have to operate capital with little or no interest, so that they can have 4 or 5 years more interest-free loan to operate, after which they will start paying back their loan. That's my thinking. The land is there, the land is there, the resources are there. But again, the fear in that area is the activities of oil and gas companies. It's not doing well for the land. It's not doing well for the way people think. The oil companies have fractionated land, parcels of land. You can have somebody have 5 hectares of land without a road or an oil facility cutting across it. That is it's a handicap. However, if the capital is readily available, I think such problems can be overcome.
Okay, then
our wetlands can produce a lot of rice.
That's exactly what I was going to say now. Where can we get support to understand the kind of soil we have, the kind of terrain, and what will do well? While we are complaining about the periodic flooding, for instance, rice farms can do with that, but yet we insist on planting what our forefathers were planting before. But the topography and the climate has shifted a little, and the kind of flooding we have is the water level at the water table around the world is increasing every year. And that means we're going to need to brace up for more flooding. So where can we get the right resource, the right support to even encourage our farmers to do something better than what they historically were used to doing?
Yeah, in summary, or just to add a little to what you are saying, is that, or put what you are saying in other words, is that the sing song, the chorus everybody is singing currently is climate change. agriculture is a climate-based operation,
Sure.
activity, human activity. Agriculture depends largely on the favorability, if you use the word, of the weather, of the climate. Down in Oguta, flooding, especially in recent times, has increased so much so that, but remember that even in those days, there used to be flood.
Yes.
Cassava, there are many varieties of cassava you can plant today, and in 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, you harvest. You plant them in January, before April, March, May, June, when the floods keep coming, you will have harvested. That is number one. Number two is there are many varieties of rice too that are very suitable for lowland rice. Lowland rice, you can plant them when the floods are receding, or even before the floods coming, and they mature without the flood interacting with it as much. But I also believe that tackling global change or tackling climate change does not only require local capacity. It also requires national and global capacity. So if Oguta wants to fully exploit the opportunities around the area in terms of agriculture, what we also need to do is gather our heads and see what contributions we can make towards the conversation on climate change, and see what ideas we can contribute towards the conversations on flooding. Because, like I said, it requires tackling climate change. It requires indigenous knowledge. It also requires national and international knowledge. So we in Oguta should not just sit and close hands and eyes and think that the solution to overflooding or flooding Oguta farmland the solution can come from outside. No, we can put our heads together and generate 1 or 2 ideas towards the conversation that is centered on change or flooding.
And of course, if people don't know, if we don't speak out and let the world know our challenge and where we are and what we're going through, everybody will assume that it is well with us. But if we make our effort and also shout to the relevant, to the world, I'm sure our cry might resonate with 1 or 2 initiatives out there that could come to our rescue, or people who have had and surmounted such challenges we could also learn from them.
You see, my brother, the issue is about crime. I'm sure Oguta people have cried and cried and cried, are ready to cry them. But as Oguta community is concerned, let's ask ourselves, how much have we done after crying in terms of flooding? What have we added to the conversations on flooding in this country? What have we added onto solutions covering flooding? I don't think we have not. We have. That is not to say that individuals who are privileged in their positions have not said something. But as a community, we need to ask ourselves, have we done a local conversation on covering flood? I don't think so. If you think we have, please let me inform me accordingly.
Your guess is as
but I don't think as a community. I don't think as a community we have sat down to ask ourselves, how can this be remedied? Or how can this be mitigated? How can we minimize? I don't think as a community we have taken a position on that matter. All we have done, we have tried. I'm sure we have tried. I know on one occasion when, well, let me just not be specific about examples. Let me not call names. But I know we've cried and we made a lot of crying. But we have not accompanied it with solutions. We're not accompanied with conversations that will lead to solutions, either temporary or permanent solutions to the issue of flood.
Now, and that's an extracting.
Now, tell me, you know Oguta too well. Tell me one single action we have taken. One single action which the community has taken on the road. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
You come again, finish. You have
I said we have given flood relief to flood victims. We've gone to tell them so.
Relief. Thank God. You have given palliative to flood victims.
Yes.
Is that an action against flood?
People who claim to be flood victims, even though it's obvious they are not.
Now I ask, is that a solution to curb flood?
No.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that we as a people should say this and this we should do, or we should suggest to higher quarters to curb flood. Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Building along those wetlands, building close to 2 or 2 meters away from the shoreline. Has Oguta taken a position against people who build against around, let's say, at this point in time, Oguta should say, okay, from this point to this point, nobody should construct a building. Have we taken that decision? But year in, year out, people go nearer the shore to construct their building, and year in, year out, those people still suffer from the effect of flooding. Then when they now suffer from the effect of flooding, you run and give them 1 bag of rice, 2 bags of rice. The flood will just be laughing. After they eat the rice, the following year again, you give them rice.
Right. And even apart from that, even building across those shores, even weaken the soils around it and make them more vulnerable for flood the next year.
And so I think, yes, but see, the way I look at it is that we should ask ourselves, there is flood. There is a problem called flood. As a community, what do we do? What do we suggest? Yes, we may not have the wherewithal to counter flooding, but we can have 1 or 2 solutions we can suggest to either local government, either the state government, or even the federal government on how flood can be minimized in Oguta. The impact of flood can be minimized in Oguta. Have we done that? We have not done that. We have not done that. All we do, like you said, is at the end of the day, flooding. We refer as the victims. My victims, so we have 10 bags of rice, 5 year food, 5 right? Huh? So I think we need to be a little more proactive. We need to be a little more proactive.
Now, for preferring solution, what do you recommend now that we have the executive chairman of the local government duly seated? What solution can you proffer? Because in Oguta Round Table, we like to raise the dust, ask the questions, and when possible, proffer solution, so that we don't just end up in asking questions, and when we can say amen gina oya dimma. So in your take, especially because this is your field, what will you suggest to us Oguta as a community and to the local government chairman as a way in the next 1 year? Imara, yes, we are now moving forward, not just complaining about this problem, but profiling solutions. So what will you say if you have a sitting one-on-one with Oguta people, everyone that has the mind to give a solution? What will you suggest we'll do?
Yes, thank you so much. The answer I will give you is not only restricted to flooding or climate change. The answer I'm giving you is holistic. Is a template for solving every societal problem.
Okay.
Climate change or flooding, for example, let the local government chairman constitute a technical committee that can sit down and make up a position on how that problem can be tackled. I believe Oguta has enough manpower that can sit back in 1 month or 2 months, post down a solution-driven paper on his table. But the problem with leadership at that level is that they hardly want to look in the direction of technical people. They hardly want to look into the direction of experts. They hardly consult. All they are interested in instinctive solutions. Oh, do rice, mineral banana, for the burial, and move. No, that is the issue I'm talking about. What I'm saying is that for every societal problem, the local government chairperson, the state government can constitute a highly technical committee that can look into it and give long-term, medium-term, and short-term solutions, global solutions, local solutions to the problem. As at now, we don't have any such document with reference to fraud, and I'm sure with reference to very other developmental problems in the community. I tell you, even education. Do I have to drive out of agriculture and drive you into education? The problem within education is that if the primary school enrollment is dwindling, the local government does not have a solution to it because they have not constituted a committee to look into it. But I want to excuse the local government or the governments at local, at state, and national. I want to look at them with some pity. Even the community itself, they are not doing anything about it. A few sometimes with reference to dwindling enrollment in schools, a few people have taken some what I call ad hoc decisions or taken an action. They have taken some actions on ad hoc basis, very ad hoc, knee-jerk reactions to the situation.
Prof,
but I want to see a plea.
Prof.
Yes.
Biko, yes. Ndị afia na ndị ubi na-egecha program na wazụma na paradolu oyibo na-esokwa agachizikwa ihe asụ na oyibo ịchụkwa ịkọwatụ naanị biko ka anyị na-amụrụkwa
mgbe ife na-akọwa okwu ife ijuru na-eruni ngachiri iwe n'iwe saa ọyị nwoke ugwu takpọrọ flood akwa
okay, so oyibo the things of Buchara, but it's not for us as a map of Budia.
Chere, Kojuro. Iporado Yibo flood aqua. Who that by Iju? In fact, I think in Iju. Okiju. What is my food?
Sorry,
no, Okiju Abia. If you Okiju Abia, Okiju Neswa, ordinary, in the government, in Okon, one day Manya Bife, no Kachamara or no, the Ijunani room, or Ginicani question, or Ginicani Yemen. No Kachamara, the Atia will rule for Yemen. Omudi for nani local government, omudi for nani state government, omudi nani federal government. Ndo obodo nwere ike ịkpọkọ n'oshiwo mbụrụ egere iwu ndị ọrụ witatu ndị ndị eze what I call traditional institution ndị oriri nzere their major interest bụ ife eri ife ara ara.
But they can call themselves, call those experts. Oh, we don't catch a man, not only because issue that then as in your own can imagine here. I probably know with you. A baby will differ. Outside in the what they call the traditional institution, big of Oguta professionals. What are they? Oguta consensus. They are doing their little. They are doing their little, what I consider to be little. But what eventually for neighbor, an aggregation. Behind you, no Casamara, no didn't one if I need a canimara, no if you do touch or non garbage or doing a labor wine. I'm not if you equalize the Ijuru Rapa. And then look, man, they are good at consensus, man, they good friends, man. Nashi, yes, good women, not the ma. Actually, not the ma. And if they are Kamabu, those groups don't know, they can occur. No, they don't work at Tamara, no, do what the normal the shoe because we can hear. Kede, they are dedicated. Ejimoji, Amosa is Joy, even if I manify car, Okiju, they are any Where's the map? I'm going to be hot if you
No, I don't want to know. We do keep there.
We should any question no corny, with a question no corny. Either at the local government level, at the AZ level, at the club level, at the even age grade level, can bring this experts together, sit them down. Shibiko, look at this problem, Nani. Then I'm going to share. Emako beda tato. Afumako. Omo dinani idoro. Omo dinani na iduru kani dem and rice. Nya wafa. No all day. Ifumako awoshi. Kani no kwani. Ordinary agriculture, ordinary fikonyo, ordinary juo, ordinary akwụkwọ. Uta noka where denganga ni choro kifani. Let there be a document. A teacher now OCD can't even function. OCD can't even function. OCD cannot even bring out the document. OCD America ambo dajirofu, ujirofu. They can't do anything. So, but those elitist societies, those traditional institutions, local government can pool resources. Pool resources I'm talking about, but don't catch a matter. No matter what, sure, the declaration is being granted. They are not shema. If we are in if we can.
Okay, sir. I was engrossed. But when you were saying this, only if Bataram Nobu, Nkena Ishi, in the government, man cannot. Ima, Ogereje, Ija meet ya, Ndobodo do. Jewawo, Udu, Shina, what Paul do, na booted statistics. Mobile statistics, or whoever P2B, now statistics will go chop. Some of our people want to chop rice rather than the discussion with the technical people because their belief now you guys the professionals will just what they are suchacho wonama even after no
you are making a mistake. Are you okay?
Yes, sir.
Are you okay?
Sir.
And the American Society in America 1966 in my Apollo.
Apollo, yes.
And that's 66 also. And that's 6 of 69. I believe Apollo can I get them.
Oh, Apollo okay space.
America jere boom jelangana.
The boom okay. If that he Apollo, Apollo can never deny.
No.
Okay,
I think it was John Kennedy. I don't know, one of the American presidents, precisely in 1969.
Yes, John Kennedy.
Over over that Americans can land on the moon. Now Americans they are so open now on.
Yes, and he said that in his statement, I paraphrase, that we do it not because it is easy, but because it is hard.
Good. The next thing was call the experts. Call the experts. When you call the experts, you don't tell them to speak grammar to you. They should give you milestones, measurable and attainable milestones. If I actually now I go one now, then if I need an actor. Of this so you go. Okay, no, if you that statistics will job, they are emotional now. But I don't want to talk about that.
But to do statistics are good now, and you do Kariana.
That is another problem I think the Nigerian people have, which we're more interested, if you understand, we feel immediate profit.
Sharp, zibo.
Exactly. Nobody is interested in strategic planning. That is what I mean. Strategic planning. A plan that is achievable. Now go. Next week I need another and next week I need another moody. Nobody has small no, nobody for. When you give a task, you will want it compared to task. In one way, she never have the first to go if I have Funanya, I did not, I have Branaka. You know, and when you constitute that committee, you put politics out of the way. And that is part of the reason that's so you go. Because you go and bring your friends, you go and bring incompetent people. You then they now man if you each more be like a woman. So as you go suggest and your document your document and you know now madi anyaya. In that whole kwaniwaka, you will go more actually of bear. But when you give constitute a committee, if one dog catch a mash would if a job man. When if a nature of animal, if I have entire phone, fair prana pack. Obdinary swimming boy, achievable. It should be achievable. It should be a time frame. It should be a scale of preference. Now we're getting in. I think if I need a prana, how will you get different motion? That is what I'm saying. With reference to flood, with reference to every other developmental problems in the community. Our community, our people, if I you know, there's nothing like planning. They don't need little or nothing.
Prof, we actually will need to bring you back to a larger audience on this program, because if you went beyond what we have asked and you raised issues of framework, which is one thing we've been talking about on Oguta Round Table. Unite here all the branches of OCDU and all the development efforts. Because what you just raised are two major issues that require scaling and all hands on deck to solve. And the individual efforts we know till date have yielded results, but not a major result like we want it to be. So that means that a very big vacuum to unite the segments of OCDU to work with, and I'm very glad that the current local government chairman is very, very willing and ready to work with anyone who is interested in the development of Oguta. So is our Ezigwe and council, and so are our brothers and sisters all around the world. My question, Bujia, Obuziana Baba Maraku Kobuna Madironko. Because everybody seems to be ready. So where is our problem now coming from? What is the hindering this progress? What is stopping us from moving our community forward as a common unit.
If issue of Baba Amadina, Governor Maodinko,
Yes.
Baba Amadina, Baba Amadina. Don't forget, that there was a time I was the national vice president, first national vice president of OCD. And I have, yes, and I have taken time. Each of them, if OCD, I'm one of my cow, if I'm one, I'm one of my cow. The people, you say the people are interested. Yes, the people are interested. But the basic thing about OCDU today is politics. OCDU today is a toothless bulldog. And politicians have killed not just OCDU, I think virtually all the town unions.
Wow.
Virtually all the town unions in Imo State have been crippled by politicians and their political interests. Because anyway, I'm not a member who gave you this young chap, young intelligent chap, Apo Uche Aniche.
Yes,
He started what they call,
yes,
he started what he called Reimagine Oguta.
Oguta, yes, I was following the platform.
Yes. And that Reimagine Oguta had time scales. It's important to what I was saying. Form a committee that give them a challenge, give them time scales. Why should Oge Dingira, then if I need Choranaka, Oge Dingira, then if I need Choranaka, Oge Dingira, then if I need Choranaka, Oye Dingira, Oye Dingira, Oye Dingira. Economic.
Of course.
Only Echita. At a point, what's scuttled OCD election? Or what's called the movement, what's called Ogini Mere, Amijiri Daja Mba. All because a certain politician refused to. Durajo na Tetadifa na Boyo Kenya or Okuajino. Obo politician.
Yes.
About 2 years ago, OCD was scheduled to hold a meeting, about 2 or 3 years ago, in civic center. A night or two before that, Ashina security assurance that election didn't hold. We were trying to pay the house. Over for a ticket to election this December. You know,
not yet.
He did not know. Okay. But you know that government should election will not hold. You know that government should I'm the election. Why? Because to them it's insecure.
Sorry, that communique is a bit it's not very clear, and we're going to make efforts to bring the executive chairman Kobia Kowatunani this in his own words, because talking with some of the aides, they are saying that it was taken out of context. So Mishiwoda will now bring them to Wajani the context from which it has been said. So since he's not here to defend himself, we cannot make any comment on that at the moment. But yes, anyway, a letter in circulation.
Okay, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, I am commenting based on that letter.
Yes, yeah.
I'm not commenting based on him making any clarification or no clarification. I'm not making my comment based on you. I'm making my comment based on what I see on ground. Until when he now says what he wants to say, then I can reposition myself.
Because what they were saying was not targeted to OCDU. They said that nobody should go and destabilize any of the town unions by conducting elections. They were insinuating that existing bodies or people who are currently holding those decisions should follow their tenors. But that's, like I said, it's speculations, and we cannot, as media organizations, dwell on speculation. But nevertheless, that is the much we can take on today's episode. And I'm excited to let you know that we're bringing you back and not far away, but on the next episode of Oguta Round Table, because you have Ijeda Dobere Pillar. So we will need to finish this discussion with you before we let you go. So please prepare for us again next Friday. We are bringing you back to join our next guest for next week to still deal on the issue of structure, which is what we are going to be talking from now to the end of the year. How can we revive the OCDU as a unit, irrespective of what we call it? There is a right of association that is not limited to just Oguta. And what if there are regulations, how can we make sure that this is done without violating any of the laid down laws and of the land? Thank you very much, Prof.
Okay.
Like I said,
before you sign out,
yes, sir.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Before you sign out,
I was going to let
before you sign out,
I was going to let you have
Before
the
you
final words and also greet our Oguta people and thank our sponsors. You have the floor.
If wants to go forward, politicians must leave OCDU alone. Politicians, local government chairman, once you call yourself a politician, you have a choice. I have a choice. But as soon as I call myself a politician, I should leave OCDU alone. Simple.
But,
And not just OCDU, all the time unions, all of them. That's my parting word.
all right, move on, Prof. Thanks again. And remember, we are bringing you back next week, Friday, on Oguta Round Table.
It's okay.
Thanks to our sponsors, our producer,
The pleasure is
and
mine.
all the members of the crew. Thanks once again, and it can only get
Thank you.
better. Mbona, Prof.